Over 70% of the eggs eaten in the UK come from cage-free hens. But despite the clever marketing by supermarkets showing hens clucking happily in fields, most free-range and barn farms imprison tens of thousands of hens per shed and pack in 9 hens per square metre. This is part 3 of Rotten, an animal justice project exposé of the UK egg industry. This time, we infiltrated farms associated with directors at the British Free-Range Egg Producers Association, hitting the industry at its highest level of so-called welfare standards.
Free range is meaning that the birds can go outside. Most of the birds will go outside first thing. They love going outside.
Nobody looks better after the welfare of hens than you do, the egg producer. No one cares more about the welfare of free-range hens than the producers. This country leads the way in free range.
Showing that awards, accolades and assurance labels mean nothing to the hens kept inside egg farms. All of the farms featured in this video are RSPCA Assured, and all the supermarkets they supply have committed to be cage-free on all of their eggs by 2025 at the latest. This means that eggs from these supermarkets will no longer come from colony cages like these, and instead will come from farms like this. This is Jack Stevenson, one of the farm directors talking to our investigator at their award-winning on-site cafe.
Yeah, we know ours are free range, that's why they're probably a bit more expensive than you get elsewhere.
Free-range eggs from these hens will end up on the shelves of Sainsbury's under their own label brand and are sold as James Potter Eggs, who supplies Sainsbury's, Tesco, Asda and Co-op. They claim to take a hen-centric approach to their business, stating, "We put the welfare of our hens at the forefront of our decision-making." Across 2 months, we filmed laying hens in extreme suffering and distress. Feather loss was common, likely caused by feather pecking and red mite infestations. We witnessed hens fighting and pecking at each other, frustrated at their situation and unable to cope. This hen was heartbreakingly filmed being bullied by other hens over several hours, repeatedly trying to escape until she collapsed and died on the shed floor. Their lives were filled with fear and pain. All so their eggs can be sold to shoppers in major UK supermarkets. This hen was suspected of being egg-bound, a painful condition. When an unlaid egg gets stuck in the egg duct, this can lead to death. This chicken lay dying. Nobody was coming to help her. The shed floor was littered with deceased and decaying hens, left to rot amongst the living. Weak hens had become trapped on the floor, unable to reach food or water, leaving them to die from starvation and thirst. Hardly the pinnacle of high welfare that the BFREPA portray themselves as. But did we find a one-off rotten egg? Sheriff's Wood Eggs is the family farm of Pauline Jones, a BFREPA director. Sick and injured hens were once again a tragically common sight in the crowded sheds. This individual was filmed being bullied by other birds. Dead hens were strewn across the floor and then thrown into a chest freezer. We visited a third BFREPA director's farm to continue our investigation there. Lucy Hinch farms over 300,000 cage-free hens. We visited 3 of her farms in Lincolnshire and Rutland.
The birds are getting on now, they're 66 weeks and they'll be in here till they're 8 weeks. Originally when we cut them in 41 weeks ago, 1,000 inside.
The eggs from her farms are sold through LJ Fairburn, one of the largest independent egg suppliers in the UK, who stock supermarket giants Asda, Co-op, Aldi and Costco. Yet again, injured and dying hens were littered across the floor of this BFREPA director's farm. Several dozen sacks of dead bodies were found in bin liners. This was the so-called enrichment mandated by law to enable free-range hens to carry out supposedly natural behaviours. Nesting boxes were blocked off, so hens were unable to use them. So what about the hens clucking happily in fields that consumers are promised? RSPCA Assured standards state that free-range hens must have continuous daytime access to the outside every day. Across all of the farms that we visited, we documented no hens being let outside at all, despite no bird flu restrictions in the area at the time, or within the last few months. On all farms, our drone filmed empty ranges and pop holes unopened for as long as 3 days. Is this the kind of free that free range promised you? Is this what you think of when you reach for cage-free eggs? As a consumer, you have the power to end their misery by not buying eggs. Cage-free means nothing to hens, but veganism does. Cage-free isn't cruelty-free. Don't buy the lie. Visit thefoultruth.org.